Hello and welcome back to the Truth Teller podcast. Today we are going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be talking about a Bible story instead of like a topic because I've been talking about marriage, but now we're going into Noah's Ark. But also what's different is that we have a guest today.
Hi.
So we're going to be talking about the flood, and we're not really going to go into the evidence about it, but we're just going to be talking about what the story is because a lot of, like, for people who don't know, and then also because a lot of Christians don't believe that this actually happened, but it's a true story.
Mm-hmm.
And
True.
it is true.
Yes.
People have a natural instinct that there's a God out there, and that's why there's so many different religions, and the only religion that really has no God is atheist. But humans know that we have a nature that knows that there's a God out there. We know that we were created by someone, and because we can't just be, because if you had a bunch of airplane pieces and then a wind swept up and like a tornado can't come, do you think that would then make an airplane?
That's an interesting way to describe it.
But would it make an airplane? Would it make an airplane? No, it wouldn't, because that doesn't make sense. You have to have a creator. And that's what atheists believe, is that there was a bunch of pieces and then it just came together and then we happened to be created, and that doesn't make sense. But so just like we have that that instinct that there's a God out there, we have an instinct that there was a worldwide flood, because that's the only thing that actually makes sense according to all the evidence that we see around us. So a bunch of different cultures, a bunch of different religions, just like they have different gods, they pretty much all of them have some flood story that involves a worldwide flood and some kind of boat, not necessarily an ark. It can be different shaped and different amounts of people, but it's like the same thing, just in different fonts.
Yep.
And I could go into those stories, but we're not going to do that.
We're not going to do that today.
Oh my gosh, he's so random.
Yes.
Okay, so getting into the background of the flood. Before the flood, people spoke the same language. So the Tower of Babel is what split apart the languages, but stop on, sorry. But the Tower of Babel happened after the flood. So that's when everyone spread across the world. So at this time, most people are in the same area and they all spoke the same language.
But they weren't doing what God wanted them to do.
But they weren't doing what God wanted them to do.
No. Not good people.
We'll get to that in a second, though. We're not there yet.
Oopsies.
Okay. But they all spoke the same language, and they probably looked very similar to each other because they didn't spread across the world, and that's mostly why we have different races. But so they look more similar to each other than humans do today, because we have many different skin colors, and it's all so beautiful, and it's cool how God made us all diverse. But we are all still humans belonging to the human race. Just because we look different, we're still coming from the same God, and there shouldn't be separation between us just because of our looks, because that's dumb.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting into the story now. So that's the background and just kind of some stuff to know. We are going to start with Genesis chapter 6, verses 5 through 8. Would you like to read, or would you like me to read?
I'll read. The Lord saw how great man's wickedness on the earth had become, and that every inclination, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Of the thoughts of his heart was only evil all the time. The Lord was grieved that he had made man on the earth, and his heart was filled with pain. So the Lord said, I will wipe mankind whom I have created from the face of the earth, men and animals, and creatures that move along the ground and birds of the air, for I am grieved that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord.
But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. Yes. Okay. So people were so wicked, they couldn't think any good thoughts. Like,
Nope.
any. That's crazy. We have so much to be thankful for now, and they couldn't think any good thoughts because that's how awful the world had become.
Stupid people.
And God regretted making humans. If
Wait,
you remember,
he did?
yeah.
What? Oh,
You read that?
oh. Oops.
For I regret that I have made them. Just read that. That's what God says. For I regret that I had made them. And in creation, if you remember, God, his creation was very good once humans were made. That's what made his creation very good. But now he had regretted making humans at all. That's how bad we had become. I would feel so sad if God regretted making me. Because, like, God's perfect.
Me too.
But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. So Noah must have been able to think of God, to be able to believe in him. And that's why God was like, okay, even though I regretted making humans, I still love them and they are my creation and they are made in the image of me. So I am going to save Noah and his family so that we can just start over and hopefully they won't get this bad again. So
yes.
that's what happened before the flood. And this is the reasoning why God was going to bring a flood, because he was going to start over. So now Genesis 6 verses 9 through 22. This is the account of Noah and his family. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight and was full of violence. God saw how corrupt the earth had become, for all the people on earth had corrupted their ways. So God said to Noah, I am going to put an end to all people, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. I am surely going to destroy both of them and the earth. So make yourself an ark of cypress wood, make rooms in it, and coat it with pitch inside and out. This is how you are to build it. The ark is to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. Make a roof for it, leaving below the roof an opening 1 cubit high all around. Put a door in the side of the ark and make lower, middle, and upper decks. I am going to bring floodwaters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens, every creature that has the breath of life in it. Everything on earth will perish. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you will enter the ark, you and your sons and your wife and your sons' wives with you. You are to bring into the ark 2 of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you. 2 of every kind of bird, of every kind of animal, and of every kind of creature that moves along the ground will come to you to be kept alive. You are to take every kind of food that is to be eaten and store it away as food for you and for them. Noah did everything just as God commanded him. Okay, so that was a lot that we need to unpack. So this is when God is telling Noah about the flood to come, and he's giving him instructions on how to build the ark. So it says that Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. So he was still sinful. He wasn't perfect because no one was perfect. No human can ever be perfect except for Jesus, because Jesus was fully human, but he was fully God. And he was righteous because he trusted God. That's what it means to be righteous, is when you trust in God. And Noah had hope and faith and trusted God. God still thought his creation was very good, so he didn't want to wipe it out completely, which is what I kind of already said already. But the ark, a cubit, it does it in dimensions of cubits, which we don't have anymore. But cubits are probably most likely around 20 inches long. So a little bit over, so like a foot and a half, kind of, roughly.
Oh, yeah.
So what people have done research on is, so the ark was as long as 1.5 football fields, as tall as a 4-story building, and 85 feet wide, which is it. That's a lot. But
if that's confusing to you, go to Kentucky, and a model of Noah's Ark is
Ark Encounter.
Yeah, that thing.
I was just gonna say that. I was gonna say that you can't really picture that until you actually see it. And there were people, Answers in Genesis, I believe, that built the ark, and there's so much cool resources inside to see what it was like, and it's a really cool experience. So I definitely recommend going there.
But then your feet hurt.
It's not that much walking
for a little child like me.
But it actually puts it into perspective about the ark, and it's really cool to actually see what it looked like. And so
they're
it's
juicy.
Okay, getting into the topic a little bit about dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs.
There's a lot of debates about whether dinosaurs were on the ark or not, or whether dinosaurs were alive, and we know that definitely, for sure, dinosaurs roamed with humans. They were not created, well, they were created before humans, but it was because they're a land animal, and there's sea dinosaurs, and there's ones that fly, so dinosaurs were created, but they roamed with humans. They weren't extinct before humans came.
Yeah.
So some Christians say that they were, the dinosaurs were hunted out before, because the wickedness was so bad and they were killing each other, they could have just like made the dinosaurs go extinct. But another thing which I kind of agree with is that there was dinosaur kinds on the ark. They didn't have to bring every single dinosaur type. They had to bring the kinds. So like for the cat family, they didn't have to bring like the house cat and the lion. They just brought the lion, you know? Like they had to bring the kinds, and then also they didn't have to bring the adult ones. So they could have brought the children that were tiny. And actually, most of the dinosaurs were actually the same size as a chicken or a sheep. So they aren't actually as big as, like,
you could smack them.
Some dinosaurs were big, like T-Rex and the long neck ones. But they didn't have to bring the adult ones, you know? So they could have totally come on and then gone extinct after. So that's my take on dinosaurs.
Just
do you have
read
anything?
the Bible.
You're gonna read now.
Oh.
Genesis chapter 7, verses 1 through 5.
Okay. The Lord then said to Noah, "Go into the ark, you and your whole family, because I have found you righteous in this generation. Take with you 7 of every kind of clean animal, a male and its mate, and 2 of every kind of unclean animal, a male and its mate, and also 7 of every kind of bird, male and female, to keep the various kinds alive throughout the earth 7 days. From now I will send rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and I will wipe from the face of the earth every living creature I have made." And Noah did all that the Lord commanded him.
Noah did all that the Lord commanded him. That's how it ended when God gave instructions for the ark. It said Noah did everything just as God commanded him.
Slay.
No. Noah, he's being told this, like, it never rained. It was probably super dry. And God's like, hey, we're going to send this worldwide flood. And people were probably making fun of Noah and like, why are you building a boat on dry land? Like,
so I survive.
Like, what's your problem?
What's your problem?
And Noah just did what God commanded him because he trusted God and knew that he was all powerful and he could totally send a worldwide flood.
Sorry.
So that's God kind of just repeating, like this kind of repeating what Noah did. Chapter 7, verses 6 through 24. I'll read this. Noah was 600 years old. Okay, we're gonna stop there for a second. I know that sounds crazy.
You just started.
I know that sounds crazy, but it was actually like that was the average.
A lot of people survived very long.
Yeah, that's just how it happened. Okay, so Noah was 600 years old when the floodwaters came on the earth. And Noah and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives entered the ark to escape the waters of the flood. Pairs of clean and unclean animals, of birds and of all creatures that move along the ground, male and female, came to Noah and entered the ark, as God had commanded Noah. And after the 7 days the flood waters came on the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of the second month, on that day all the springs of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of the heavens were opened, and rain fell on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On that very day, Noah and his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, together with his wife and the wives of his 3 sons, entered the ark. They had with them every wild animal according to its kind, all livestock according to their kinds, every creature that moves along the ground according to its kind, and every bird according to its kind, everything with wings. Pairs of all creatures that have the breath of life in them came to Noah and entered the ark. The animals going in were male and female, of every living thing, as God had commanded Noah. Then the Lord shut him in. For 40 days the flood kept coming on the earth, and as the waters increased, they lifted the ark high above the earth. The waters rose and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the surface of the water. They rose greatly on the earth, and all the high mountains under the entire heavens was. Oh my goodness. They rose greatly on the earth, and all the high mountains under the entire heavens were covered. The waters rose and covered the mountains to a depth of more than 15 cubits. Every living thing that moved on land perished: birds, livestock, wild animals, all the creatures that swarm over the earth, and all mankind. Everything on dry land that had the breath of life in its nostrils died. Every living thing on the face of the earth was wiped out: people and animals and the creatures that move along the ground, and the birds were wiped from the earth. Only Noah was left, and those with him in the ark. The waters flooded the earth for 150 days.
Oof.
So that was a lot. The flood came, and so it's just this cool picture. Like, we can't even imagine it, but just the animals coming into the ark, 2 by 2. Just God making them. And then, like, as we saw in Daniel, he could have, like, Daniel with the lions shutting the mouths of the lions. He could have totally been like, don't eat each other because I need you guys to survive.
It's funny.
Also, we know that in the Garden of Eden, all the animals were vegetarians. Like,
oh yeah,
yeah, because they didn't eat meat. They didn't have meat to eat. I mean, technically they could, but there was no violence, so they could have totally just been vegetarians too.
Vegetarians on the earth.
Yeah,
Adam and Eve.
Yep. And some atheists may argue that animals have sharp teeth for biting into meat. But did you know pandas have super sharp teeth?
No, they're just a big fluff ball, so.
No, they have super sharp teeth for eating. Like, they could totally eat meat. They could totally rip apart animals. But they eat bamboo. They mainly eat bamboo, and that's not meat. So we see it with them that they're an example that you don't need to eat meat if you have sharp teeth. So then there's this picture of waters raining down and then waters bursting up from inside the earth, like just water everywhere. And that would easily just crush a boat. But no.
Yeah.
God protected the ark. He closed the ark by himself. it's just so cool to see how God works. And then we see everything dying except for what God protected in the ark, and he was just so faithful and worked through that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Anything else to
He
add?
is really cool.
Anything else to add?
No.
Okay, you're going to read chapter 8, verses 1 through 14.
But God remembered Noah and all the wild animals and the livestock that were with him in the ark, and he sent a wind over the earth, and the waters receded. Now the springs of the deep and the floodgates of the heavens had been closed, and the rain had stopped falling from the sky. The water receded steadily from the earth. At the end of the 150 days, the water had gone down, and on the 7th day of the 7th month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat.
Good job.
The waters continued to recede until the 10th month, and on the first day of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains became visible. After 40 days, Noah opened the window he had made in the ark and sent out a raven, and it kept flying back and forth until the water had dried up from the earth. Then he sent out a dove to see if the water had receded from the surface of the ground, but the dove could find no place to set its feet because there was water over all the surface of the earth. So it returned to Noah in the ark. He reached out his hand and took the dove and brought it back to himself in the ark. He waited 7 more days and again sent out the dove from the ark. When the dove returned to him in the evening, there in its beak was a freshly plucked olive leaf. Then Noah knew that the water had receded from the earth. He waited 7 more days and sent the dove out again. But this time it did not return to him. By the first day of the first month of Noah's 601st year, the water had dried up from the earth. Noah then removed the covering from the ark and saw that the surface of the ground was dry. By the 27th day of the 2nd month, the earth was completely dry.
Tell me your summary.
That they had to be very patient for God.
Very patient.
Very patient.
Very patient in that ark. Like, imagine
Yeah.
that, not being able to, like, touch land, and you're stuck with a
And
bunch of
then-
animals who
yeah.
poop all over. Okay, sorry. Keep talking.
And, like, some of Noah's kids probably doubted.
You probably did. Especially Ham.
Sorry, that's a funny name to me.
No, but, like, after the ark, he was very sinful. And anyways, that's a different
Yeah.
story.
Anyways. And that,
Sorry,
oops.
keep talking.
Noah was very patient, probably because he's old too, and he just doesn't really care what happens. But he might care what happens.
Okay, tell me about the birds.
The birds. Okay, so Noah sent out a raven, but the raven never came back, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it didn't come back. Anyways, but then the dove came back with a fresh olive leaf. And
What does that mean?
It means that the land dried up and they can finally live on land and stop throwing up because they're seasick.
Well, it means that there was life. There was tree to find the olive branch.
Land.
Yeah, there was
life.
It was able. Not everything was destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that doves kind of go with olive trees.
So Noah sent out a raven, and they kept flying back and forth until the water had dried up from the earth.
Yeah.
Then he sent a dove,
Mm-hmm.
and it came back because it couldn't find anywhere to perch because there was no dry land. And then he sent another dove, and that's the one that brought back the olive branch.
Mm-hmm.
You were close.
I was
It's okay.
pretty close.
Okay.
And I feel like there's like a lot of pictures with like doves that they have like olive leaves. Yeah.
And the dove usually signifies like hope. And
Yeah.
that was
I didn't know
that was Noah's hope, was that we have dry land. Also in the New Testament, we see a dove flying across when Jesus is baptized, and we know that's the Holy Spirit. So the Holy Spirit can also take the form of a dove.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And then we see that so they come out of the ark, and it must just be like a moment. We finally
Kissing
get out.
the land.
Yeah, we finally get out of the ark. I'm so done with this. So
We probably got seasick too
probably
from being there that whole time.
it must have been a really weird feeling, like, you know that feeling when you come out of, like, you're swimming for a long time and then you go on land and it's like you still feel like you're floating. But they must have felt very weird because they're not on a boat that's wobbling.
I'd have to lay down for like a couple days.
Okay. So
can I say one thing?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So there was this thing that I saw. This is totally out of context, but like some people don't really know what faith is. So faith is basically when like a group goes to this one place to pray for rain when it hasn't rained and you need rain. This hasn't happened, but only one person brings an umbrella. That's faith.
That is faith.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't understand that until I saw that.
Yeah. It's very important though, to understand what faith means, because Noah had faith and he trusted that God was he built the ark. He didn't pray that God would like build the ark for him and then he would know. But he built the ark trusting that God would follow through on what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very good. Okay. Anything else to say before we move on with the story?
Nope.
Okay. So they're coming out of the ark. And now we're going to move on to verses 15 through 22.
What chapter?
Chapter 8.
Oh, we're still on chapter 8.
Yes. Then God said to Noah, "Come out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons and their wives. Bring out every kind of living creature that is with you, the birds, the animals, and all the creatures that move along the ground, so they can multiply on the earth and be fruitful and increase in number on it."
If I was Noah, I would be like, kids, you get the animals. I'm going on land. You can deal with them.
You stopped me in the middle of reading to say that.
Yep. Okay, you may
Okay.
continue.
But it's also God giving the command to go out, be fruitful, and increase on number. It when God had Adam and Eve, he told them to have dominion over the earth, to multiply and spread across the earth. God is telling Noah, because they're basically starting over, to go multiply and fill the earth, which we can see the earth is definitely very filled right now.
Yep, very filling.
Okay.
Yes.
Continuing on to starting at verse 18. So Noah came out together with his sons and his wife and his sons' wives, all the animals and all the creatures that move along the ground and all the birds, everything that moves on land.
Wait.
Came out of the ark, one kind after another. What?
Why? What happened with the son's wife's family?
Huh?
Like it says, "Come out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons and their wives. Bring out blah 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 blah." But sons' wives. What about the sons' wives' family?
They died. They never came on the ark.
Oh, that's depressing. Okay, you may continue.
Okay.
Sorry.
Verse 20. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and taking some of all the clean animals and the clean birds, he sacrificed burnt offerings on it. The Lord smelled the pleasing aroma and said in his heart, "Never again will I curse the ground because of humans, even though every inclination of the human heart is evil from childhood, and never again will I destroy all living creatures as I have done. As long as the earth endures, seedtime and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease."
Okay. What is aroma?
That's a smell. It's a scent. Pleasing aroma. So
Stop touching me.
Noah built an altar to the Lord, so he made a sacrifice to praise God for all that he had done, his faithfulness that endures forever.
Mm-hmm.
And so he had a sacrifice, and that's so an altar is like a rock square.
I know what
I know,
but
other people might not know. It's a rock square.
Oops.
And basically it's a place where they burn animals. So that would have let off a smell, and God from heaven smelled it, and he was so happy that there was someone who was praising him. He didn't Noah wasn't like, "Yeah, I did that all by myself. Like, I did such a good job building."
It's not like anyone's gonna.
I did such a good job at building that ark.
Girl.
That's like what the Israelites did when they wandered in the desert. They were like, "That was all us." But
all us.
But that's later on.
Worship us because we're so slaying.
Oh my goodness.
But we're not.
So, and the Lord was like, "Okay, even though because of Adam and Eve's sin, even though from childhood people are going to be sinful, they are going to sin, I am not going to wipe all of them out again because I love them, and hint hint, I'm going to send my son to save them because they can't do it on their own because they're dumb." Spoiler alert. Obviously, not obviously, but we're talking about Jesus. But anyways, so God is saying seed time and harvest. So before and after, cold and heat. So like he goes through the two different extremes. No matter what, I will promise to never destroy them all over again. So we don't have to be afraid that we're gonna be wiped away again and be like, I missed the ark. No.
No.
Verses 1 through 7 in chapter 9. You can read that.
Oh, okay. Then God blessed Noah and his sons, saying to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number and fill the earth. The fear and dread of you will fall upon all the all the beasts of the earth and all the birds of the air, upon every creature that moves along the ground, and upon all the fish of the sea. They are given into your hands. Everything that lives and moves will be food for you. Just as I gave you the green plants, I now give you everything. But you must not eat meat that has its lifeblood still in it. And for your lifeblood, I will surely demand an accounting. I will demand an accounting from every animal and from each man too. I will demand an accounting for the life of his fellow man.
to verse 7.
Whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of God has God made man. Has God made man. As for you, be fruitful and increase in number, multiply on the earth, and increase upon it.
So this should sound familiar.
It's hard.
This should sound familiar to what God told Adam and Eve to do in the beginning. Be fruitful and increase in number, multiply on the earth, and have dominion over it.
Mm-hmm.
So God is reminding Noah of the command he gave to Adam and Eve in the beginning, because it is practically the beginning. He's like, the other guys messed up. You now have to do this,
Yeah.
So, verses 8 through 17 in chapter 9. I'll read it. Then God said to Noah and to his sons with him. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. Then God said to Noah and to his sons with him, I now establish my covenant with you and with your descendants after you, and with every living creature that was with you, the birds, the livestock, and all the wild animals, all those that came out of the ark with you. Every living creature on earth, I establish my covenant with you. Never again will all life be destroyed by the waters of a flood. Never again will there be a flood to destroy the earth. Sorry. And God said, This is the sign of the covenant I am making between me and you, and every living creature with you. A covenant for all generations to come. I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. Whenever I bring clouds over the earth and the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will remember my covenant between me and you and all living creatures of every kind. Never again will the waters become a flood to destroy all life. Whenever the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and all living creatures of every kind on the earth. So God said to Noah, This is the sign of the covenant I have established between me and all life on the earth. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what a covenant is?
No.
It is a binding agreement between two parties that cannot be broken. So it's like a promise.
Oh.
But it's like deeper than that.
Okay.
It's kind of like a contract, but it's more of like a promise.
Oh, yeah.
And so this is the first covenant in the Bible. There's several after that. Right now we are in a covenant. It's called the New Covenant, and that's with Jesus.
We are?
Mhm.
Oh.
The New Covenant is with Jesus and how Jesus will come back on the earth. But this is called the Noahic covenant because it's made with Noah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's God's promise to never flood the earth again, to never destroy all mankind again. And
which is
so
good because I would probably die.
And what's interesting about this covenant, because the ones after that, what's interesting about this covenant is that we don't have to do anything for God to fulfill it. Mm-hmm. Usually with the covenant, it's like, I'll do this if you do that. And God says that with his other covenants, but then he puts it on himself. He's like, I'll do this if I never sin, which God is perfect. So he puts it on himself. So this covenant can never be broken. That's what's really cool about God's covenant, is that it can never be broken. And he puts a sign, which is the rainbow, which, interesting enough, comes after it rains. Mm-hmm. And it's showing that, it's God saying to us, I didn't flood the earth when I let it rain. I didn't let it flood completely. He let the sun shine, and then the rainbows come. And rainbows are so beautiful.
Just imagine what the earth looked like if you were in space, and if there was people in space at the time.
Which there weren't.
I know, but if there were, and while there was a flood, and you just see all the water.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
But rainbows are so beautiful in the fact that it's a sign that we can look at it and be like, God fulfills his promises. God is so faithful. And
Mhm.
it's an amazing reminder.
Mhm.
Yeah, so this is God's covenant, and Jesus comes to fulfill it in the end. Oh my goodness. And there's a Bible Project video about covenants, and that's really interesting. So you should watch
Bible Project.
that. Bible Project.
Watch the Bible Project, dude.
Dude.
Guys,
well,
whoever you are.
We can't do anything to break it because God put it on himself and he is perfect. So I've kind of already said that.
Yes.
Okay, so that is the flood story, but there's something that I want to share. It's 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 6. Okay, never mind. It's 2 Peter 3:6. And it says, "By these waters also the world of that time was deluged," which is flooded, "and destroyed." Deluge means flood. But so Peter wrote this in the New Testament. So this is like 4,000 years later. And he's saying the water was flooded. So Peter, 4,000 years later, is confirming the flood as a true story. So there's no reason we shouldn't believe it. And there's so many evidences, but I don't, that'd take a lot more time to go through that. So we're not going to go through that right now.
Yes.
But that's all I have to say. Do you have anything else to say? Want to wrap us up?
Read the Bible, dude.
Yep. Amen.
Dude.
Okay. Thank you.
Wait.
Okay.
Have a good rest of your day. I love ya.
Why are you talking like that?
Because it's fun.
Okay. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you join me again, and I hope this was interesting to have a guest on and to talk about a story in the Bible. But I hope the rest of your day is blessed, and I hope you join me again. Well,
and me.
Mostly I hope that you heard God speak through us, and that it wasn't our words, but it was God's words.
Ta-ta, darling.
Okay, bye.